impressed just with how far he's come in a short period of time. And they're really running their offense to a degree. But I think what you've seen the first 2 weeks is a lot of short passes. And part of that is what the defense has given them. But also, too, I think they want to make sure they don't sort of unleash Mac and have him sort of implode like we saw with Jets quarterback Zach Wilson when he throws 4 interceptions last week on 4 passes. Quite honestly, you probably shouldn't have thrown any of them. So I think it's sort of a mix of both where they feel comfortable with what they're doing, but they're also saying, let's take some baby steps here as we build this thing up.
I want to say thank you, Mike, for being so gracious with me as a player. I know I was a little knucklehead up there, so I appreciate you doing that. And I wanted to ask you about Damien Harris and talk about his progression as a running back. And what do you think his status will be this Sunday?
Well, first of all, Jeremy, you were no knucklehead, man. You were great. If I remember, you were a big Lakers fan. Did I have that right?
Yes, sir.
You're wearing the hat right now.
Yes, sir.
Jeremy, that was the only thing I have to come back at you on. You know, I mean, you come up to Celtics country and you're bringing out. So no, I love it. It's great stuff. Damien has a finger injury, and I don't know exactly what the injury is, but I do think it's significant, Jeremy, that he was limited the last 2 days in practice, and it makes me wonder what his status for Sunday's game is going to be. So let's stay tuned on that one from a standpoint of the injury report. It's going to come out later today, and I'm assuming they're going to list him as questionable, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I think I would probably defer to you as a running back. People say, oh, just a finger injury, but I would think that's significant with your ball handling, right?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely significant. Catching passes, too, as well.
Bill's not worried about ball security, is he?
After that, did you see the season opener against the Dolphins? Oh, man. But so just to give you a quick feel, like Damien's the clear number one back. I think if you break down the snaps, I think he's played 65 snaps over the first 2 games. James White, their third down back, who Jeremy knows well, so reliable, he's played 57 snaps, and then they split with J.J. Taylor and Brandon Bolden and Ramondre Stevenson have like 5 apiece. So really it's Damien as the number one traditional back with James White, the passing back, and if he doesn't play, that's a big void to fill.
Mike Reese covers the Patriots for ESPN, joining us here on Hunt and Hill. Mike, seen 2 games for the Patriots, a close loss to the Dolphins, and then a routine win over the Jets as is tradition up there. What do you think of this team as somebody who's watched a lot of championship football in your day? What do you think of this Patriots team through 2 weeks?
So I think it's a team that's going to build and be better as the season goes along. Like one thing I think is going to be important for everyone to watch for Sunday is their run defense. Like, I watched the Saints against the Panthers, and it looked to me like Alvin Kamara sort of like almost disappeared in that game. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way that happens 2 weeks in a row, right? Like, he's got to be a huge factor in this game. And Patriots gave up over 150 yards rushing to the Jets last week. And when they needed to stop the Dolphins in the season opener, the Dolphins got 2 first downs deep in their own territory, partly by running the football. So I think, to me, like, that run defense is probably the area I'm focusing on the most at this juncture of the season, just because I think it's going to be a huge factor with Alvin Kamara and the Saints coming in here on Sunday.
Well, yeah, let's keep it on that topic then. If you know Bill like I know Bill, how many resources do you think he's got to put to stopping Alvin Kamara?
They got 11 guys on defense, so I'm thinking 11. How did I do, Jeremy? Did I
Yeah, you're right on the money with that one.
And I think that's like, it reminds me of going way back to 2001. If you think about the first Super Bowl the Patriots won, which was down actually in New Orleans, and when they played the Rams, Marshall Faulk, right, of the Rams, and it was like chipping him and disrupting him, anything to disrupt the rhythm of his routes in the passing game, because it's not just as a traditional rusher, it's also as a pass catcher. So whoever's been wearing that number 41 penny in practice, right, for the scout team, I would think is probably getting beat up this week here in New England.
Mike, I've got to imagine Belichick puts on the tape against the Packers and thinks, all right, this is a serious engine they got running. Then you flip to the Panthers game and they can't do anything on the offensive end. It looked like 2 different teams, and we're trying to figure out which one the Saints are, probably somewhere in the middle. I know he's not going to give you much in a press conference, but have you heard anything from the Patriots, the coaches, or the players about what they've seen from the Saints on tape?
A lot, Hunt, and I'll tell you, this is what I've learned from Bill, and I I don't know. I'd love to hear if Jeremy would sort of confirm this from being inside the walls. Is like, look, you always have to expect that you're going to get a team's best shot, right? So it's like, even though they didn't look good against the Panthers, and you acknowledge that, and you say, look, this is where we might be able to get them, you also have to, like, look at the tape and say, look, guys, if we fall asleep here, this can happen to us. And you turn on the Packers tape, right? Like, I think that's just human nature. And I think for the Patriots, there is a little bit of a mental game this week because of the contrast in performances that the Saints have had. And you add in that Tom Brady and the Bucs are coming in the week after, and some people in the media are already talking about that. You know, like, there's a focus that the players need to have, and I think Jeremy would confirm this. Like, Bill Belichick won't let them focus on anything else other than the good stuff from the Saints and nothing about the Bucs or any of the bad stuff, because he doesn't want to see them fall victim to that.
We saw this Saints defense really do a good job against Aaron Rodgers in week 1. How do you think Coach McDaniels is going to try to attack this defense? They run a lot of too high safeties too.
Yeah, you know, that it's been interesting to me to hear the players describe the Saints defense this way. Like, they don't do a ton, but what they do really well. So you just have to go out and out-execute them, out-physical them. So when I hear that, Jeremy, I'm thinking, like, okay, the Patriots aren't doing this as a big scheme game. Like, they got blitzed quite a bit by the Dolphins in the season opener, 45% of the time. The Jets came after Mac Jones quite a bit in week 2. James White, I asked him, he said, you know, the Saints, they don't show that much in the blitz game. We'll be ready for it. But I think the way they're approaching this, guys, is like, here's what the Saints do. We sort of know what it's going to be, and we have to be on our, you know, P's and Q's to execute against that.
Mike, I know you're a busy guy, and we appreciate some time. One more before we get you out, and it's kind of just a general pulse of the fan base type question. Obviously, such a ridiculous run with Brady and Belichick. They turn the page there. Tom goes and wins the Super Bowl. What's the general attitude of the Patriots towards this team, towards the organization, towards the coach, as you kind of move away from that era, with obviously the coach being right there?
So the general mood of the fan base? Huh?
Yeah, just how they view things. Yeah. I mean, is it all trust in Bill and we'll get it figured out immediately, or is it we miss the old days? I mean, we miss Brady. What's kind of the feeling up there?
So I guess it's always hard to sort of sum up the feeling in one fell swoop. I would say that there's a faction of the fan base that it was very hard to watch Tom Brady go on and win a Super Bowl with another team. The idea of, hey, wait a minute, you know, like, he still had more to offer. Why did this end, you know, after 20 years? And then I think there's another part of the fan base that maybe is a little less vocal, that is just appreciative of being taken on an amazing ride over 2 decades, right? And so I think it's probably split somewhere in the middle. And there's also excitement about what's ahead, because they feel like with Mac Jones, they have a young quarterback that might be the next quarterback to lead them on a great part of their championship run, if you will.
If you're looking for updates from the Patriots side, you can follow him on Twitter at Mike Reiss, R-E-I-S-S. We appreciate some time on a Friday. Enjoy the game Sunday.
Thanks, Hunt. Thanks, Jeremy. We'll talk soon.
He is Mike Reiss from ESPN. Mike is a busy man, only had the top of the show, so we appreciate him fitting us in. But we got a ton to get to over the rest of the next 2 hours. You ready to roll?
Oh, yeah, man. We're one day away. Actually, less than 24 hours, man. Get this thing rolling.
You got to carry the rest of the show. I'm watching the Ryder Cup. We've only got 2 Ryder Cup guests coming on, both in the second hour. We'll talk. I'm kidding. People, don't wreck your cars. We're talking LSU, Mississippi State for the majority of the rest of the show. We'll talk a little bit about the rest of the SEC action on the docket tomorrow as well. And I might throw a Ryder Cup update every once in a while as we continue to mount our charge up 3-1 after the morning session. Let's take a timeout, come back with more LSU and Mississippi State. It's Hunt and Hill on a Friday.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Join us for a Football Friday on Early Line as we make our official picks for Week 3 in the NFL and Week 4 in college football. Plus, we give our final thoughts on Saints, Patriots, and LSU, Mississippi State. Tune in, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field on a Football Friday, it's Hunt and Hill. It feels like a Football Friday outside. That fall weather is here. I got a little beef with my wife. I had to, just have it out with her yesterday. First of all, in August, she starts wanting to do pumpkin crackers and pumpkin coffee and stuff. I'm like, it's summer. It's not fall. And then we just got to fall this week, and she started talking about Christmas yesterday. It's not Christmas. We just got to fall. Stop fast-forwarding every season. And then she wants it to be winter, and it gets dark early. And she wants, because you can snuggle on the couch. You can do that when it's 100 outside. At least it's daylight till 8 o'clock. And I'm not freezing when I go out there. I just don't skip seasons. We just got to a good one. Let's leave it right where it is. And as fall comes, so do important football games, and LSU certainly has one on Saturday. And look, I thought about this game a lot. I've done a good bit of research on the game, and it just feels so important. And that was what we led with yesterday with, both teams, how important this game is going to be to both of them. But I look at it from the LSU perspective, which is where we sit. If you go win this game, man, okay, and you play, say LSU goes and wins by 27 tomorrow, just hypothetically, we'll throw that out there. Passing game clicks, get a couple turnovers, big plays. You win. All of a sudden, you turn the page and you look at Auburn and say, hey, we've played better the last 2 weeks. We got an 8 o'clock game with Auburn in Tiger Stadium. It'll be night game. We'll be fired up. Let's go. Let's see what we got this year. You lose this game, all of a sudden you go, well, we went 5-5 last year. Now we're 2-2. And I think you can make a pretty strong case. We did power rankings on Wednesday. Mississippi State's the worst team left on their SEC schedule.
Yeah, that's definitely in the realm of possibilities. I think it's just such a huge game, I think, for both teams. I think if you're Mississippi State, especially after beating us last year, you're feeling really good about yourself, and you're feeling like LSU's coming to town. We have a really good chance to win this football game. But LSU, after we played last week against Central Michigan, you get the offense clicking, you get the young guys getting out there, the guys we all thought had ability, got those guys making plays out there now. Now we're feeling good about ourselves. Two teams who really think they can win this football game. They're going to go at it tomorrow, and whoever comes out on top is definitely going to be springboarded into the season, into their SEC schedule, because they're really going to feel like they can beat anybody.
The news of the day, and the news of the last 48 hours or so, is Derek Stingley, and I don't expect him to play on Saturday. I'm very comfortable saying I do not expect him to play. Have I ruled it totally out? Do I have any inside information? No, none of that's the case. I don't expect him to play. The injury's fresh. He hasn't practiced since then. I think it's a logical discussion to have on Friday radio. What do they do without him? And so you start to look at the secondary, and personnel-wise, it's fairly easy to chop it up. You've got Ricks on the outside. I think that Cordell Flott and Dwight McLaughlin fit out there as well. Jay Ward's coming back in the secondary. Major Burns is back there as well, and that's kind of your nucleus. Do you see it a different way? Yeah, that's exactly what I would think. You saw Dwight out there practicing this week, so he should be back and playing tomorrow, and I think that's probably who should start on the outside. I think Dwight has really he made a leap from last year. Last year he gave up a bunch of big plays, but I think now he's coming into his own. He's learned this defense. He's done everything he could to get back in this lineup, and this is a perfect opportunity to really go out there and show what he can do at corner. Here's my concern. I think Corey does an awesome job, and I think these guys are really talented. Here's my concern. We've seen the offensive line not be healthy the whole camp and have a rotating door at 3 different positions through 3 weeks and not play well. That's a unit and a group that needs cohesion, communication, reps, playing together, and at times we've seen them not play very well. This secondary, you've had Jay Ward go out and Cam Lewis come in, and then you had Stingley go out and come in, and you had McLaughlin out, and he's coming back in, and Flott's either in the slot or he's outside when maybe people are moving positions. All these moving pieces concern me against this offense that's predicated on, this is pretty simple, but if you screw up 1 or 2 times, we're going to hit you over the top for a big one, and that's where they can hurt LSU, and we've seen too many busts already as it is. That's my biggest concern. Yeah, that's a legitimate concern. I think that's why Leach keeps his offense simple. They run only maybe 5 or 6 schemes on a play-in and play-out basis, and they keep to it. All they do is really motion guys, change the formations, and they keep trying to attack you the same way they attack you from the first quarter. You saw a lot of teams last year pick up on those schemes, and they really weren't able to find a lot of success. But if you're a defense and you're not knowing what to do, you're not lining up, and you're not consistent snap after snap, they'll hit you for a big play. He doesn't mind dropping back and passing it 75 times a game or 60 times or 65 times if you're not dropping back in the right coverage and guys are running wide open. So we're definitely going to have to be assignment sound. I think that's going to be so important for this game, being assignment sound and getting our D-line after the quarterback. If we can do those 2 things, we can make it a tough day for Rodgers. Everyone's talked, since whenever they started the season, end of September, beginning of October. I don't even remember how far we went deep into it before we actually started playing. But anyway, everyone's talked about having to play more zone against Mississippi State. Everybody sits back, they play in zone, they keep everything in front of them, all that. That takes more communication, my guess is, than man does. And with the moving pieces, and especially if you have lost a corner on Wednesday that you thought you were going to have on Saturday, you lose Monday and Tuesday, which are like kind of your heavy install days of getting things figured out. Everything else, to this point, they're walking through Thursday, Friday. So it just seems like a tough ask to play as much zone. I mean, they're going to try to do it, but it's just tougher because they haven't been out there to communicate, and their roles have been changing.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do. You just knew Stingley was going to be on the outside. You knew you had a stalwart out there. You knew that it was going to be tough for whatever receiver lined up in against him, playing and play out to really make big plays and really hurt him. Now you got a guy that hasn't really played much snaps coming in there and coming to a big opportunity, a big role game. And it's going to be a lot, man. You got to really be locked in and focused, especially at this level. And if you're not, Leach is going to scheme you up time and time again. You saw them throw for 600 yards last year, so they have no fear in this defense if they don't go out there and line up and do what they're supposed to do.
We've talked about this a little bit, but I do want to revisit it as the conversation evolves up front. Mississippi State has basically bailed on the run game. They just are not any good at it, and they decided we're just going to do extension of the run game with a short passing game, and the quarterback's not really a threat to move on you. It's snapping it to here, and then it's going wide. It's basically everything. From the defensive front, as we talk about personnel, who do you put up there? How many? What's your alignment based on what you're looking at up front with the splits that Mississippi State has and with the tempo that they want to play with?
Yeah, I'm rushing 3 or 4 the whole game. I'm not sending heat at them. You watched last year, if you send heat, especially man blitzes, they're going to run those little shallow crosses. They're going to run the little drag routes. And in blitzes, when you have no help, no zone help, no middle robber helping you, those plays are going to gash you. And so I think for us, if you rush 3 and 4, run a lot of zone, mix up the zone coverage, run some cover 6, run some cover 2, keep everything in front of you. And like I said, let those big D linemen keep their hands up and bat some of those balls down. You can make it a long day for Rodgers. We've seen that time and time again. When they can't really get up high and get a lead in the game, it's tough for them to really come back when they're just doing all that dinking and dunking. So I think for us, we come out there and drop 8 in coverage and drop 7 in coverage. It should be a good day for us.
Because it's so counterintuitive with a team that's going to throw it 60 times to say, don't go after the quarterback. We've gone through some stats of some teams that had very few sack numbers, against this team in Mississippi State, this offense over the last 2 years, and they've still managed to slow them down. LSU was disruptive against Mississippi State last year. I mean, Allie Gay was back there all day long and was in the backfield making, they had sacks, they had tackles for loss. They just gave up huge play after huge play after huge play, which is how you give up 650-ish passing yards in a game. So you can't tell. I mean, when you were on a team where Chief literally said, don't rush Manziel, just sit there, wait. That's not the marching orders here. We're going to try to rush the passer just with less people.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. Rodgers is not going to kill you with his legs. Yes, he'll pull it down and take off, but that's not his strong suit. He wants to sit in that pocket and dink and dunk you all the way down the field. And then when you get nosy and come up, they're going to try to take you and go over the top of your head. So I think for us, it's getting guys that know the zones, getting guys that feel comfortable in zones, especially if we're in match and cover 4. You got to be assignment sound. You got to know what area of the field you have and just keep your eyes open. I think we got so much talent on that side of the ball. If those guys can just stick to what Coach Jones and Coach Raymond are telling them to do, they should be A-okay.
Still no word on John Emery or Trey Bradford, which we thought we would have by lunchtime on Friday. I think that LSU's disappointed. They haven't heard anything, and that's kind of the MO for the NCAA. When they've got something in front of them, they just don't do it quickly. They don't do anything quickly, and they don't do much right. So that's disappointing. However, do you think that those two guys or one or the other coming in makes an appreciable difference in this offense?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Okay.
I think both of those guys, actually, they both do a great job catching the ball in the backfield. I think Emery, just watching him from last year to this year, I think he made a huge leap coming out of the backfield, just running routes. He's putting a lot more sauce on his routes, and he's really gained that confidence. I just knew this was going to be a breakout year for him. I think the over-under we had for him was 800 yards. We thought he could get 800 yards this year and just not having.
That was before we watched the UCLA game.
Yeah, that was also before that as well. But we felt really good about him, and so I think if you can find a way to figure the academic situation out and get him out there, I think that would be a great security blanket for Max. I think Jack Bash has filled that role perfectly in the middle of the field, but you can also get a back doing the same thing. That will really help that offense out.
Ed Orgeron called Ty Davis Price's starting running back earlier this week. Did that surprise you, and do you expect him to follow through on that?
Yeah, it didn't surprise me because it's so early on in the season, and I'm sure he's done a ton of work to put himself in that position and, just practicing, being assignment sound every day. And they say he practices well, so I'm sure that's why he's keeping the job. But these young backs are coming in. And the last time I checked, I think Armani Goodwin may be up this week. I think he probably will play this week. So you got two young, hungry Wolves in the backfield, and Josh Williams is no slouch either. He's gonna have to pick his play up, or I think that job won't be his for very long.
I think there's a chance Goodwin plays. We'll hear from Ed Orgeron here in the next segment. Got plenty of his sound, and we'll react to some of that next on Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for a Football Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hours return. Phil Steele picking the biggest games in college football. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bryson DeChambeau just hit his first tee shot of the Ryder Cup. He pulled it left of the fairway, left of the bunkers, left of the fairway, and hit a gallery member over at Whistling Straits. So he's off to a rousing start. Hopefully Scotty Scheffler can make a par there and get on down the road. But Bryson's off and running, swinging as hard as he can and having no idea where he's hitting the golf ball. That's enough Ryder Cup here. Let's get back to the football talk. Ed Orgeron says that LSU had a good week of practice, preparation for Mississippi State.
Oh, just finished a good week of work. The guys are ready to go. We practiced very well this week. We have to get our clocks going, early morning game. We're going to practice here in the morning. Leave, stay in Tupelo, and then bus on down to Starkville on Saturday morning. Get ready to play.
I think one of the big storylines has been the injuries. They just continue to pop up everywhere. Andre Anthony in the game, potentially Stingley here this week, and you've been missing some of your running backs. Cam Wire at left tackle. It's a lot for a team.
Yeah, well, we always have the next man up theory. Hey, we always thought we're going to need everybody. And next man up, now's another guy's chance. Injuries are part of the game. There's nothing that we can do about it. It's very unfortunate, but the next man up there, and it gives an opportunity for another guy to play. So we got some guys that are excited, some guys that haven't played much, and I think they're going to play very well.
Your thought on the next man up theory?
It's a real thing, man. Honestly, that's how I got my opportunity. Alfred Blue was running hot. I thought he was well on his way to rush for 1,000 yards, and next thing you know, he tore his ACL, and then now we're lighting the running back room. So that's what opened up my opportunity. So I definitely believe in next man up.
Well, that really dampers my thoughts on it because obviously LSU upgraded from Alfred Blue to Jeremy Hill there for sure. But the issue is that most of the time in a college football setting, the next man up's not as good. Yeah. And it's the same thing in baseball. It's the same thing in basketball. There's a disparity. There's a pretty large disparity most of the time in your starters and then down the depth chart in college. Professionally, sometimes you can plug a guy in there and he's a pro and he can figure it out. At college, some guys are just a lot better. Yeah. To get to the professional length, the margin's a little bit tighter. College, it can be a little bit wider, and it's just not as good. And so you can't be expected to perform at the same. And it's a great message. It's a message you have to give to your team. But you're just not as good. That's just the point of it. And when you lose Dare Rosenthal and Cam Wire gets hurt, all of a sudden you're not as good at left tackle.
Not yet. We're still going to look at it. We're going to look at practice. We're going to make a game day decision. Garrett Dellinger, Anthony Bradford, those two guys are fighting for it right now. Cam Wire practiced a little bit today. We're going to see how well he is on Saturday morning.
I think Bradford's going to be the guy. He's the one that hadn't played it very much. Has said that the other guys didn't play well. Xavier Hill's not even being mentioned there. And then, Dellinger has played some and obviously has not played very well. But Bradford's a big dude. Are you comfortable with him protecting the quarterback and pass blocking on the edge at that size?
I have to see it. There's a reason why they didn't feel comfortable with him going out there, trying out there in UCLA. Especially when Cam went down. I think he's going to be a jump in the run game. He's going to be able to move people around. If Bradford can't move people around, we're in a world of trouble because that kid is huge.
He's enormous.
Yeah, he's huge, and he just looks like he can just push people around. So I think you get a boost in the run game. That's something you should see right away. But it's yet to be seen what he can do in the passing game. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of chips from Jack Bech and a lot of chips from the running back to help him out on third down.
We've discussed this next Ed Orgeron soundbite, or the topic of it, this week, and it's something that I've gotten asked a bunch. It's something I've got fairly significant feelings on, but we'll see what Ed Orgeron thinks about playing Mike Jones at linebacker.
He's really come along. His problem was never coverage. It was about playing in the box, taking on 350-pound guards, getting rid of them, and making tackles in space. So not making tackles in space, making tackles in the box. I think he's improved in that area. But this is a game that he needs to play, and he's going to play. He should play very well.
I agree with him there. I mean, you brought this guy. It's not like this is an unproven college player. Mm-hmm. He played pretty well at Clemson. And this is like one of the games on the schedule where you actually know what they're going to do 85% of the time. Like, they're going to throw the football, and he's out there to help defend against throwing the football. It makes so much sense for me for him to be out there. There's like no other teams in the nation that you know what they're going to do 85% of the snaps, save the service academies maybe. I mean, this is This seems to me to be a pretty easy decision, but think that they're going to stick with Damone Clark and Micah Baskerville.
Yeah, I think so. I think for me, at the bare minimum, if I'm Coach Jones, I have a third down package for him, especially if they're in a 3rd and 12, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9 situation, and they pretty much have to pass the ball. I think you got to find a way to get Mike Jones out there, whether he's just covering the back of the backfield, whether he's covering the tight end down the field. A guy with that much ball skills, a guy who's played on the edge before, played in big games, played over at Clemson. You would think that they can come over to LSU and find a way to make plays on that defense. So it's yet to be seen. I'm not sure how much confidence they have in him, but I would love to see him out there, especially covering that and really the things that killed this UCLA game. I think he would help out a lot with that.
I'm generally a person that defaults to the easiest answer when I get questions like this. Like, I always get questions. I'll get them all fall. Who's LSU's starting rotation going to be in the spring for baseball? And I usually default to guys who have experience, as opposed to like trying to point to some freshman and make a splash like, oh, well, I can predict this. I usually just default to what's the easiest answer. The easiest answer here is that Damone Clark and Micah Baskerville keep playing because they've been the players. I don't feel that way this week. I think Mike Jones should be in the game plan. He's fast. He covers really well. He can play in the slot. Mississippi State doesn't have a plethora of NFL guys that are just really difficult to deal with. They've got a bunch of average receivers. I think he can play with all of them. I would put him out there.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I think Coach O said it best. He's made progressions. If you see a kid, making that, let's see what he can do out there on the game day. That's really the only way you can tell. Practice, you can only learn so many things. I think until you get out there, when the lights are on, when the pressure's on, when you really got to go out there and make a play, that's the best time to see. And I think this is that'd be a great opportunity for Mike Jones to really make his debut as a Tiger against a team who's going to probably drop back and pass it 60 times during the game. So I would love to see him out there, but that's not up to me.
You can start your game day early, 7 o'clock. Jeremy Hill and Matt Moscona on Eagle 98.1 Game Day. I'll take the reins over with the LSU Sports Radio Network at 9 o'clock. Go till 10:30 before we throw things to Starkville. I'll be back on 30 minutes after the game for an hour, and then Charles Hannegriff and Richard Condon on for an extended hour of Eagle 98.1 Game Day after we are done. So loaded over there on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. You can be with us from the time you wake up till mid-afternoon with LSU and Mississippi State. We'll take a break, come back talking NFL slate on Sunday. That's next on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station.
It's week 4 of the prep football season, and we get you started Friday at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and Warren Easton kick off at 7, immediately followed by a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Panthers moved to 3-0 last night, but lose Christian McCaffrey for some amount of time with a hamstring injury. What'd you make of last night?
Man, Sam Darnold's making that leap that you want to see.
Yeah.
I thought, he had the weapons around him, everything that you would need as a quarterback. And if he didn't get it done this year, then it's probably on him. But he's been playing extremely well, taking care of the football, throwing the ball down the field. Tough blow to lose McCaffrey, and I think they lost J.C. Horn as well.
Yep,
but
broken foot.
Yeah, I think the Panthers, man, they're going to be competitive.
3-0 in the NFC South. All right, we'll go through our tier list as we do every Friday at this time to close out hour number 1. Tier 1, must-see TV. Tier 2, solid, good NFL football. Tier 3, I'll check the score. And Tier 4, no thank you at all. So we'll start at Tier 4, the Atlanta Falcons headed to the New York Giants. The Falcons, they got some name brand guys, but they stink, and the Giants are not much better. Pair 0-2 teams up at MetLife.
Yeah, that's going to be somebody has to win. That's the beauty of that game. Somebody has to win it. It's just going to be a lot of turnovers, I feel like both teams are going to turn it over a little bit, but there's some talent on both rosters, but yeah, probably not going to garner my attention on Sunday.
Tier 3, just saying. Cincinnati's at Pittsburgh. Cincinnati is just, they're the worst team in that division. I think that on a given Sunday, they got a chance like they did in week 1, and then they show up in week 2 and were atrocious against the Bears. I think that's probably what you're going to get from them week in and week out.
Yeah. It's just their defense has made a leap. I think it wasn't just the atrocious defense from a couple years ago where the Saints scored like 60 and didn't get stopped. They didn't get stopped one time. I think that defense is so much better. You add Hendrickson and some of the guys they added over there. But it's going to be on Joey B, man. If Joey B can come out on fire, taking care of the ball, they're going to be competitive in every game. They got a ton of talent on that roster. But if not, when you see those turnovers creep in, then it's got to be tough for them. So it's really going to be on Joey B's shoulders.
This is in Tier 3 because Justin Fields is playing. It would probably be in Tier 4 because I think the Browns are significantly better than the Bears, and it's in Cleveland. But with Fields out there, it's at least a little bit more interesting.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to answer a lot of questions. I know everyone was pounding the desk for Andy to get benched. This is Phil's chance. This is why you draft him that high in the draft and you put him in the situation that you put him in for situations like this. So a lot of people are going to be watching to see how he performs in this environment, but If you had to ask me, I don't think it's going to go good for him.
There's a lot of Chicago on my Twitter feed, and they're just buzzing because they've had no quarterback play ever. They've just never had a quarterback. Jim McMahon's was okay, and he's the best they've ever had for any of these people's lifetimes. And every time they draft one, like Trubisky, and like they bring in, Cutler. Every time there's hope, but it's not founded for very long. Ravens are at the Lions. The Ravens are just a lot better than the Lions. I mean, I think that's your survivor pick, right?
Yeah. I think Action Jackson's going to be running that rock all over the yard. It's just I don't think Detroit has enough juice on offense to really make this a game. So yeah, Baltimore should win that pretty easy.
You don't see a lot of 8-point road favorites in the NFL. Baltimore is that. They're in Tier 3. Cardinals are at Jacksonville. That could have been Tier 4, but look, the Cardinals are pretty fun to watch, so I'll at least throw that in there.
Yeah, I love watching college. It's like watching a video game and watching that kid run around in the backyard and just throw the ball 40, 50 yards down the field, and just watching Nuke Hopkins, probably one of the best receivers in all of football, and Chandler Jones is having a year this year. So, yeah, the Cardinals are going to be a team to watch, and can Kyler continue this MVP play? I think he can.
I was listening to Jimmy's show earlier, had Bruce Marshall on. He's taking the Broncos, laying the 10.5 against the Jets. That's in Tier 3. It's my survivor pick. Broncos have been pretty solid. Teddy's completing a lot of his passes, 54 out of 70 thus far. That's kind of what you expect from Teddy. Short passing game, under control. Not necessarily the flashiest player in the league, but they've been good enough. And the Jets are, they've turned it over 4 times last week, so that's who they are.
Yeah, Vaughn is back, man. You watch Vaughn week 1, how he played against the Giants. He was coming off that edge with mean intentions, and you pair him with Bradley Chubb, and Surtain is having a great rookie year as well. The Broncos are going to be definitely competitive in a lot of games, and I just don't see them, having much trouble going into this Sunday.
Tier 2, here's your good stuff before we get to the creme de la creme up at the top in Tier 1. Tier 2, the Colts, at the Titans. It's an AFC South game. I'm trying to see if the Titans are gonna push forward here, which is why I've got it in Tier 2. They'd lay a egg here, lose to the Colts, or it's too close. They're going to be knocked down a peg.
Yeah, I took them out of my Super Bowl picks week 1 after what I saw week 1. So I think it just depends on the week. If Henry's not running hot, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I just don't think Mr. Fingerroll can just really pass it over the yard. I know they got Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, but I don't think that's his game. His game is, play action heavy, throw the ball over your head or just hand it off to 22. So, yeah, this is going to be a big test for them. The Colts defense is no joke.
Big-time defensive front with Washington. They are at Buffalo. We'll see if Josh Allen, after a bad week 1, can get that thing continuing to roll. I still think they're the class of that division. We'll see what the Saints can do with the Patriots on Sunday, but I think the Bills are the best team in the division. We'll see what they can do against that Washington front.
You said it best. I'll be looking to see what the Bills offensive line does against that front. That's one of the best fronts in all of football, and they didn't look too hot week 1. TJ Watt had a day, Ingram had a day, and then Hayward and everyone else on the Steelers was having a day with them. So if you can get after Josh Allen, we've shown he can get rattled a little bit. He's 26 in passing yards right now, which you never would have thought. So it's going to be a big test for them to really, protect Josh and really give him a chance to throw the ball down the field.
Miami headed to Vegas. Miami obviously beat the Patriots week 1. The Raiders are a really surprising 2-0. I probably would have had this one, a few weeks ago. Probably would have had this down in Tier 4 maybe, based on the recent history of those franchises. But it's a couple of good teams out there in Vegas, and the Raiders are laying 3.5.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. I think can Derek Carr continue this play? I think he's actually top 5 in a lot of people's MVP race right now, which goes to show you the type of year that he's having. And if he continue to play like that, and I think they have the best tight end in football, I'll say that every week. Darren Waller, best tight end in football. They're going to be tough, man. And I think Crosby and Unique Ndagwe, and I think they get Cleveland Farrell back this week. That's going to be big. Their defensive line is getting after passers, and if you can do that in the NFL, you're going to be, set yourself up to win a lot of games.
Jacoby Brissett will get to start for the Dolphins as Tua's out with those broken ribs. He's been a fine journeyman quarterback. I don't think he'll make plays to win the game, but he might pick some third downs up. We'll see if the Raiders are ready to sustain some success and get to 3-0. That'll be interesting to see. Seattle is headed to Minnesota. I took the Vikings out of my Super Bowl possibilities. We'll see if they can hold serve against Russell Wilson coming into town.
Man, I know Pat. I still got big faith in Pat, but there are other corners, man. Boyd, he just looked bad, and I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have to rely heavily on Daniil to get pressure off the edge, and if he's not getting pressure, I don't know if those corners are going to hold up. So it's going to be a big game. Let's see how they perform. But I think Mr. Unlimited is going to have a day.
Goofball. Green Bay is at San Francisco. All right, now this week 3. I said this about college football last year. Week 3, you might have done, certainly applies to the Saints, and it certainly applies to the Packers. Okay, who are you? Like, we've seen one nice performance, one dud. Come back in week 3, I've got more evidence to support one side or the other. Green Bay going on the road to San Francisco. We'll see if they're ready to take a step forward. And we both said yesterday, we like the 49ers.
Yeah. Aaron's had his troubles with the 49ers. If you look at his career numbers, just can't seem to get those guys out of his way, and that's going to be a big test for them. I know week 1 seems like a blip to them, but they bounce back week 2. This is really going to be a test for them. They have a D-line over there, Bosa back, and Armstead over there. They're going to be coming after the quarterback, and if they don't hold up, we saw what could happen week 1 when guys like Davenport and stuff were getting sacks against the Packers. So that's going to be a test for them. I'm excited to see what they do, and I'm also excited to see how Jimmy G continues to perform this year.
San Francisco laying 3 there. Who do you like in that game?
I'm gonna go Packers. I think Aaron's found out a little something. He's got his little confidence back. I'm going to go Packers.
That's my NFC Super Bowl pick, so they probably need to get it in gear. All right, Tier 1, must-see TV. There's 2 this week. Only 1 last week, but I love 2 games this week. The Chargers headed to Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. That's probably my game of the – oh, no, our face.
There's one more. There's one more.
That's not my – it's number 2 this week. Yeah, that's going to be a great game. I think Herbert would love to have last week back, throwing those red zone turnovers, throwing picks in the red zone, taking sacks in the red zone, stuff that could have really swung that game around. And he just didn't get it done. So this is going to be a huge test for him. I know Kansas City wants to get last week's taste out of their mouth. They thought they were going to walk into a W, and then they lose that game in the fourth quarter. So these both teams need this win. I think if you're the Chiefs and you start 1-2, that's going to be, no one really expected that. So this is going to be a big one for them.
They're not starting 1-2. They're going to cover the number, which is a touchdown at home. They're going to be in a bad mood. They've got something to prove. It's a division game. I think the Chiefs come out and beat the pants off the Chargers. We'll see. What do you got?
Yeah. What's the spread on that?
7.
7.
A lot of points, but Chiefs are at home. I bounce
7.
back spot.
Trying to think about this. 7. How the Chargers defense is playing? I think Chargers will cover that. I think they'll cover it. The Chargers played them extremely well last year. That's when Herbert came on the scene. That was against the Chiefs, and then it was down to a field goal. Bucker had to kick at the end. So I think the Chargers can cover just because it's a division game and they played them tough last year.
A lot of eyes in New Orleans could be on this one. Tampa Bay going to the Rams. It's an afternoon game, so the Saints will be done up in Foxborough. See if you can draw even in the division, if you can win. We'll see if Brady and company can go out west and get a win.
This one has me so conflicted. This is my Super Bowl pick, and then this is Tom, man. This is the GOAT. Like, come on. It's prime time, 3:25 kickoff. They're going to be in front of the nation. I'm going with my Super Bowl pick, though. Let's go Rams.
Cooper Kupp's just been unbelievable through 2 games. He's averaging 135 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns, averaging 8 catches a game. They've been awesome. Tampa's a road favorite here. I would take the Rams, too. I think the Rams have got a good chance to go win that football game out west. So that's our look at the tiers in the NFL, as we do every single Friday. A lot of college football talk in hour number 2. We'll look at the SEC slate of games. Certainly not done talking about LSU and Mississippi State. And, of course, we'll take it or leave it. And if something happens in the Ryder Cup and I scream, you'll know that something's happening in the Ryder Cup, and we'll keep you updated on that. So don't go anywhere. We're having fun here on a Football Friday. You're listening to Hunt and Hill, and you're doing it right here on the capital city's leader in sports talk. It's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Hand injury lawyers. Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 on a Friday, counting down to the weekend. Tigers and Bulldogs at 11 o'clock. Saints and Patriots noon on Sunday from Foxborough. Missed our conversation with Mike Reese in the first hour. He covers the Patriots for ESPN. We chatted with him at the top of the show. Went through some Ed Orgeron sound as we talked about LSU and Mississippi State and previewed the NFL docket at the end of hour number 1. Tons to get to in hour number 2. And it starts with the rest of college football, specifically the SEC on Saturday. Of course, LSU at the 11 o'clock game against Mississippi State. A couple more games in the 11 o'clock window for the SEC. One conference game. Georgia traveling to Nashville for Vanderbilt. Look, if you're in the East, great. You get to go to Nashville. You get to win by 50. You go home happy. Everybody loves it. What do you think?
Yeah, it gets you some country music in. I'm sure there's all type of country to listen to in
on
Nashville.
Broadway,
right? So yeah, that's just going to be a slack. And I think this is like one of those FCS, Division III schools, coming into town and getting a check. This is the closest you can get to that. With Georgia going to Vanderbilt, that's just going to get ugly
there
real
were
fast.
Stories in the 90s and early 2000s of Tennessee fans literally buying Vanderbilt season tickets just so they could go to the Vanderbilt Tennessee game in Nashville.
That's how cheap.
Because you could just buy the whole package for not that much. Like, all right, I'll just buy it. I can maybe sell one here or not, but it doesn't matter. I'll get to go because when you get, y'all didn't play Vanderbilt when you were here at Vanderbilt,
no,
so
just miss it.
So when you go there, even LSU, who's way down here in Baton Rouge, you get 45% of the stadium. If you're Georgia, it's like 80%. I mean, it's because it's just a quick trip up there. Tennessee the same way. Vanderbilt has no fans, so it's just a great weekend to travel, enjoy yourself, celebrate your team, get away, and get a victory. The thing that I'm interested in this game is not the score, the result, any of that. It's JT Daniels has talked this week and even last week that this oblique injury is not going anywhere. He's going to feel it all year. So he felt it before the Clemson game. He played in that game. He sat out UAB, came back and played last week against South Carolina, played well, threw for 300 yards. But he's going to be feeling it all year. So the question is, can you run the football, get up, and then get him out of the game and put Stetson Bennett back in there and get him some rest? You've got title aspirations over there. There's no use in putting your injured quarterback out there longer than he has to be.
If I'm Kirby Smart, I wouldn't risk it. I would not risk that. This is just not the time for JT Daniels to get something significant happen to him where you're probably missing of the big Florida game that's going to be coming up. So you want him ready for all those big games you're going to be playing in. And Stetson played amazing to start this year, so you can definitely trust him out there. I wouldn't risk it. If I'm Vanderbilt, I'm sending the dogs after him, trying to get him on the ground as much as I can just to do something.
Here's how much you can. None. You can't do it any because you're not any good and you don't have any good players. So 35 is the line there. I think on Tiger Zone we both may have taken Georgia to cover that one. Another 11 o'clock kickoff. Missouri going to Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts to play a 3-0 Boston College team. Boston College has played Colgate, UMass, and Temple. Sounds like a Sunday morning. Colgate, little toothpaste, and then head to Mass on a Sunday morning. But Missouri heading up there. They're laying 1.5 in a non-conference game. Obviously, the one blemish they have thus far is the loss to Kentucky, but still a team that we think is a middle-of-the-road team in the East.
Yeah, I think a middle-of-the-road East team can definitely go to Boston College and get that job done. I think Basilek and Beatty, they're going to be two guys you'll be looking to in that game to really have days. And I think if Beatty gets the ground game going, they're going to be tough to really beat Boston College, especially with the amount of points it is. So I got Missouri.
Does the way LSU handled Central Michigan make you feel a little bit worse about Missouri?
It's early in the year. I think, we kind of got to see what they like to do a lot. I'm sure, Central Michigan probably shocked Missouri with a lot of stuff, but it kind of does a little bit, I would say.
I say that because the other side of it is, but they went to Kentucky and were right in that game and played pretty well there. So, I think they're pretty good. I think they'll go beat Boston College. So that's what I think. All right, this is the big one we'll get to here. Texas A&M and Arkansas from Jerry World. That's the 2:30 kick on CBS. Ags laying 5.5. Look, Arkansas hadn't beaten them yet, so this is kind of their chance as we think. They're playing pretty well. A&M scuffling, trying to find their quarterback play. Offensive line hasn't been as good. Who are you buying in this one?
Let's go, KJ. I need KJ to play like Superman tomorrow. Come on, KJ. I know you can do it, brother. I be cheering that on. And I know they're going to get their run game going. Not for maybe 250 or 300, but I think they'll at least get somewhere around anywhere from 120 to 150. And if they can do that, it's going to be on KJ, man. He has to make some big throws on third down. If he can do that at home, well, it's not home game, but if he can do that, there's going to be a lot of Arkansas fans there pretty much in Arlington, Texas. But if he can do that and not turn the ball over, I think Arkansas has a chance.
It's going to be a fired-up crowd. It's going to be split pretty good. Arkansas is going to travel really well to that. A&M doesn't have to travel much to it. It's going to be a crazy crowd. Here's the thing with this game. You mentioned the run game. It goes both ways. Both these teams have to have it. Zach Calzada is not programmed to sit back there and sling it around, and KJ Jefferson certainly is not either. So both these teams are going to try to run the football if they can. A&M's offensive line has not been as good. Now they've got great backs and great skill position players. Spiller's awesome. A-Chain's awesome. Anaya Smith is awesome. They've got a lot of dudes that Damon Demas, the outside wide receiver. They got a lot of guys who can make huge plays out in space. The question is, how do they get them out in space if the quarterback's not playing well and the offensive line's not playing as well? Well, the answer is they haven't really done it enough so far. Arkansas, on the defensive side, trying to stop that, has tremendous linebackers. Grant Morgan, Bumper Pool, they're really physical at the point of attack. But A&M's going to try to run it. Jimbo, he's going to try to run it, try to play action, try to work off that. And Arkansas didn't really have another gear, and they showed up and looked at Texas and said, hey, here we come, and they ran for over 300 yards in the Longhorns. So if there's one team that significantly outrushes the other, that's the team that's going to win it. It's pretty simple, but it's the opposite of what we're looking at in Starkville. It's just going to be a physical football game in Dallas.
Yeah, that game should go by pretty quick. I think both teams are going to be running the crap out of the ball. That play clock's just going to be rolling, and you're going to look up. You're going to be in the fourth quarter already because I think it's going to be that much. I think both coaches don't really trust their quarterbacks to really, take them to the promised land, and probably they're going to try to avoid putting them in harm's way. So it's going to be a lot of run plays, a lot of quick little screen plays, a lot of just getting the ball out quick. And really, it's going to be up to these teams' D-line. I think whoever D-line shows up and plays the best, I think that's who wins this game.
I'll take A&M laying the points. You're on the Hogs. 5.5 is that number. We'll see from Arlington. It's going to be an interesting one. If Arkansas wins that game, well, LSU would already be done. But if Arkansas wins that game, it'll be pretty evident to me that LSU opened conference play with the worst team on their conference schedule. And that's a sobering thought. It's a good thing that you're not walking into a snake pit right now, but it's the reality of it. If Arkansas shows they can beat the brakes off Texas and go beat Texas A&M in a neutral site, that's a pretty potent team.
Yeah, that's why we talk about the best conference in all of America, the SEC, man. And I know a lot of years it was top heavy with Alabama, but to me this year it's probably the deepest it's ever been. When you tried out there 16-ranked Arkansas and then Ole Miss, where they are, then you got Florida, you got Georgia, you got Bama, and if LSU gets their stuff together, we can be right in the conversation too. So SEC is super stacked. You don't get a week off. Anyone you play, unless you get Vanderbilt or Tennessee, you got to have your hands full.
I miss the Sylvester Croom Mississippi State teams. I miss the end of the Houston Nutt era when they quit totally. I miss John L. Smith at Arkansas when they can't. I mean, look at what Chad Morris put out there. Like, those are the West teams that I like and deserve. I don't want to have to sweat out my game against Mississippi State. I don't want to sweat out playing Arkansas. I want them to be terrible. And unfortunately, everybody in the West seems to have both feet on the ground. Some of them are not great. Yeah. I wouldn't call Mississippi State a juggernaut at this point, and I don't think Arkansas is either. But at least everybody has 2 feet on the ground. Sometimes they're playing on their knees, and it's just it's a bloodbath. That's not the case right now, which is very disappointing. Just Georgia State traveling to Auburn for a 3:00 game. I think the only thing for me here is does T.J. Finley get in the game and play a little bit?
Man, that's what's curious. I don't know how serious those rumors are. I heard some transfer portal rumors about T.J. I don't know if they're true. I don't know if they've been confirmed or not, but I was hearing that. So if he does get in there, that'd be great for him because you hate to see a guy transfer portal twice, 2 years in a row. So you don't want to see that. But, yeah, I think this is a perfect opportunity against Georgia State.
He transferred to a place with a 2-year starter incumbent quarterback without a huge NFL ceiling. I mean, there was a significant chance when he transferred to Auburn that Bo Nix was going to be the starter there for 2 more years. I mean, a probability even. So if he's shocked by that after 3 games, I got news for you. Like, you got to transfer somewhere where the quarterback's graduating. Like, that's what you can't do it when the guy's a sophomore, soon to be junior. So, look, I think Auburn rolls in that game, gets their feet back on the ground, and then we'll see them next week in Tiger Stadium. Tennessee and Florida used to be kind of the signal that the college football important games were upon us. Everybody kind of put their wins in the beginning of the season, and when Tennessee and Florida played, it meant something. That hadn't been the case for about a decade, but they'll meet in the swamp at 6 o'clock. Florida trying to get up off the mat after coming up a yard short against Alabama.
Yeah, normally these games are kind of letdown games. You thought you let a close one get away, but Tennessee is just so bad. I think Florida's just going to rout them. It's just that Florida can sleepwalk through the first half and still find a way to win by 3 touchdowns. So.
Over-under on quarterbacks playing in this game, 3.5.
Ooh. I'll take the over.
Yeah, I think
I'll take
the
over. I think it'll be 4. I think you'll see Richardson. He was backflipping before the game last week, so I think Mullen finds a way to ease him back out there this week. And then who knows, the Hendon Hooker Milton show. Let's see what happens with that. But with Florida's defense, the way they played against Bryce Young in that second half, I think their quarterbacks are going to be in trouble.
19's a lot of points.
Yeah, but only way I see it is that tempo. But I just don't think so, man.
Who did I take in that game? I'm looking back through my notes. We both took Florida and laid the 19. So, It is written and it is decided that Florida will be winning that game by 20 points. Kentucky heading to South Carolina. This is the one we talked about on Tiger Zone on Wednesday. I cannot figure this line out. Kentucky's shown the ability to score, which they did not have previously. South Carolina is not very talented. I realize that they've made the quarterback switch. 5 points. That's not a lot of confidence in the Cats going on the road to Williams-Brice.
The House of Horrors in Columbia, South Carolina. Like, I guess that's what the new House of Horrors is, Williams-Brice Stadium. Dude, I do remember that, watching that Alabama game when they upset them. I was cheering that on. That had me going that day. But other than that, I think Kentucky should definitely rout the Gamecocks here. It's just they should win by at least 2 scores. I just don't see how South Carolina scores enough points here. Obviously, Zeb Nolan, the fighting Zeb Nolans are no more. But
nope.
I just don't see it, man. I just don't see how they do it.
this line makes sense with the old Kentucky who was running it every play and couldn't really score. This Kentucky team can throw it a little bit. Levis has thrown for 800 yards and 7 touchdowns through 3 games. So, to me, it seems like I realize they didn't – look, I realized against Chattanooga last week they weren't exactly lighting it on fire, but they had just come off a nice win against Missouri, a little bit of a letdown spot. Maybe, I'm reaching too much, but the line was so stinky that I feel like people would go with South Carolina. I can't even do it. I took Kentucky and laid the points. It's 5? South Carolina's terrible.
Yeah, you got to take the points here. That's just not enough. I would think it'd be at least 7.5, 8, and then I'd be like, maybe that's too rich, but 5, yeah, they can win by a touchdown there for sure.
And the other nightcap, Southern Miss in Bryant-Denny to face Alabama. They're laying 45. Frank Gore Jr. toting the rocks for the Golden Eagles. I don't think he'll be toting it for very many yards.
I think I took Southern Miss here, didn't I?
In this game, you did take Southern Miss.
Yeah. I think I did. Just because Nick calls the dogs off.
He
you
does
saw him
usually.
call the dog. They kind of did that in the first half against Florida. They were like, oh, yeah, they learned down. We got this. And then Florida battled back. So I think that's in there. I hope they haven't been sipping too much of that rat poison this week. So.
Well, he's been yelling at media, so how does he know what anybody's doing besides telling people, did you ever play sports? Maybe you never played. I don't know. That's what's important, Nick.
Nick is just on fire right now. He's trying to go probably win 10 championships, so that's what's on his mind. But I think Southern Miss covers here, but it's going to be a rout either way.
So once the Tigers are done at about 2:30, A&M Arkansas is at 2:30. The 6 o'clock kicks are Tennessee, Florida, and then Kentucky, South Carolina. If you want to make yourself miserable and put Alabama on the TV at 6:30, you can do that over on the SEC Network. I will not be partaking in that misery, but feast your eyes on it if you would like. That's our look at the SEC slate. Still a lot to get to here in our final hour here of the week. It's Hunt and Hill on ESPN Baton Rouge.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the...
Join us for a Football Friday on Early Line as we make our official picks for Week 3 in the NFL and Week 4 in college football. Plus, we give our final thoughts on Saints Patriots and LSU Mississippi State. Tune in, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Just announced on the crawl, Christian McCaffrey will miss a couple of weeks with a hamstring strain. Saints fans saying, sure, 1 week after we show up in Carolina, he will miss a couple of weeks. But that is the case. Bayou Ford chat over on YouTube is popping. Got some questions coming through there. We'll get to who will get the majority of the carries tomorrow, Kiner or TDP?
TDP. I would love to see Kiner get some more carries, but I think it's going to be TDP. They trust TDP. They feel good about him. Coach O loves him. I think the offensive staff loves him. The production hasn't been there quite yet, but they're hoping for a breakout game, so hopefully he can have one this Saturday.
I think Kiner's going to get some carries. We'll see. Mississippi State's run defense has been good. They put the clamps on NC State big time. Memphis ran it for about 3.5 yards a carry, which is not awful, but it's not great. So they've been pretty good up front. I just don't think LSU's gonna be able to run the ball. I don't think it really matters who the running back is. I would prefer Kiner because I think he gives you a dimension that is a little bit more effective with the compromised offensive line you have. I would like to see Goodwin get in there and get a couple touches towards the edges. But I just don't think LSU's going to run it very much. They're just not good at it. I have a sample size now that dictates they're not good at it.
Yeah, that's what I said. And I wouldn't say just totally scrap the run game altogether, but as an offense, you want to do what you do well. You want to form an identity. And whatever that identity is, you build around that and you form plays off of that to counter that. So if you don't really run the ball well, then what do you do well? Well, you got a ton of athletes on the outside. You got a great hybrid tight end that you can get the ball to. Find a way to get those guys the ball, and then you can wrinkle the run game in. And then I think that's just what I've said all along, just watching this run game. Pass to run, get a light box, and then you stick a run in there. And just don't be so predictable on first and second down. You're always trying to run an inside zone. I think you can pass on first down sometimes. You can mix it up and then pop some runs in there because right now it just doesn't look like we're going to get a world of push right now.
Yeah, got a question. Break down the LSU offensive line versus State's defensive line. I talked there about the running game and what Mississippi State's done. As far as pass blocking for LSU, I thought it was a little bit better last week. They were better in blitz pickup and gave Max a little bit more time. And Mississippi State's only got 6 sacks. They're 13th in the league in sacks behind Vanderbilt. Guess how many Vanderbilt has?
Oh, God. Wait.
Through 3 games.
I'd say 3?
That's too many. They have 1.
Oh, sheesh.
They have 1 sack in 3 games. So, yeah, Mississippi State is not done a great job of getting after the passer. And it's not like for lack of teams throwing it on them. I mean, Memphis throws it a good bit. Louisiana Tech throws it a good bit. And then NC State was down, had to throw it. So they just haven't gotten a lot of sacks. Now, they've gotten a little bit of pressure. They do have good athletes. Mississippi State has really always had some pretty good athletes that they could pull out of their state of Mississippi and put together a reasonable defensive front. The advantage LSU has, as they did on UCLA and they had the last 2 weeks, is they've got an advantage on the outside. They they've got playmakers and athletes who are better than Mississippi State's playmakers and athletes and ball skills on the outside on defense. So if LSU just holds their own and lets Max get the ball to the guys who can handle themselves, they'll be just fine. If they can't, and just like UCLA, they can't pick up exotic blitz pressures, which Arnett's going to bring. They can't get push in the run game at all, which I don't expect to see a ton of. That's where you have an issue. So to me, it's really the pass blocking because I just don't expect anything from the run blocking.
Yeah, if we can make a leap in the pass blocking, I know Max was comfortable last week. He looked like he kind of had his feet underneath him. He had the one play where he tried to spin out and get out of the pocket when he had a pocket in front of him. But other than that, I think he played really calm and he found a way to hit his receivers down the field. So I think going into this road environment with all these annoying cowbells, I think it's going to be important for him to start fast, continue this tempo that we were doing last week, put pressure on their defense. And I think when you do that, the defensive line gets a lot more tired and they can't just, pin their ears back and get after the passer. So continue to run the tempo, continue to use Jack Betch as a security blanket, and this offense should be fine.
LSU won 21 out of 22 in this series between 1986 and 2013 when you were done. Then you stepped off campus, and now it's 4-3 LSU since. Miss State's gotten LSU 3 times. There was a time where you just didn't think that LSU would ever lose to them. And then Dan Mullen broke through, and then Mike Leach went nuts last year. It was a game when you were around that didn't necessarily mean a ton. Now it's changed the tune a little bit.
Yeah, I just remember when we played, it was kind of just laughable. Like, I think the game was close when we played them in 12 and 13 a little bit, but we eventually pulled away both times. And just, that's how I felt about the Bulldogs. Like, you have appropriated fear for some teams. If you don't come in and into the game, hitting on all cylinders, doing everything you need to do, you're going to probably lose that football game. I never felt that way about Mississippi State. I think we could have sleptwalked through the first half of those games, and we just are so much talented than those guys, and we're not going to lose to them. But I think that's not the case anymore. Obviously, look to last year, look to Dak Prescott. Yep. That's not the case anymore. If you don't come out here and ready to go assignment sound, those guys are ready to do what they did to you last year. So we got to come ready to play.
There was a time when I would have gotten behind this microphone a couple weeks ago and said, look, this game, LSU's just got way more talent than Mississippi State. And while I do believe that LSU has more talent than Mississippi State, I start to look around and I go, okay, running back, hadn't really gotten much of anything. Offensive line, yeah, you've got some guys who are highly recruited, but it hasn't been very good. And like Charles Cross, their left tackle, is going to be a high draft pick. He's a 5-star guy. He's an all-conference type guy. He's going to be a really good player. Max is a good quarterback, but he's not going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft anytime soon. You got some pros at receiver. I think Kayshawn's a pro. I think some of these freshmen have a real chance. And then you go to the defensive side. Well, Stingley's not playing. Okay. Anthony's out now. We'll see what Gay can do when he comes in. Your linebackers hadn't played that well. Got some guys at corner that were highly recruited. Ricks is going to be a pro, but what do you know about Major Burns? And I start looking around. I'm like, are they a lot more talented than Mississippi State? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think the gap is big as we used to have with some of those, Les Miles, Coach Saban, coach football teams. They're pretty much NFL teams trotting out there. You got 10, 11 guys on each side of the ball. If you go from freshman to senior on those teams, and it's just pretty much an NFL team you're trotting out there. I think on the offensive side of the ball, you may be right, man. I don't know the younger guys in the running back room, but the older guys, I don't know if I would
Emery's not even out there.
That's
so,
what I'm saying. Maybe offensive line, like Deculus, maybe undrafted free agent. Like, I'm looking for the guys. Like, that they're going to be those guys. So I think the talent gap isn't as big as you would love to see on an LSU football team. But this team is so young. I think the talent really lies with the younger part of this roster. And those are the guys that I want to see a lot more of. So continue to find a way to get these young guys a ball, especially on the offensive side, and I think we'll be A-okay.
Emil says being loaded at wide receiver and awful on the offensive line is the opposite of what your priority should be. I don't think it was a priority issue. I think it was an execution issue. I think they recruited some great wide receivers, and they recruited some highly thought of offensive linemen who have come in and haven't made a huge impact. That's kind of what I don't think the staff said, yeah, we're going to get the first 5 wide receivers we want, and we'll just get down the list to whatever offensive linemen show up, like we'll just take them. Like, I don't not a priority thing, just an execution thing and a roster management issue at this point.
Yeah, I think we downplayed it, going into the season, but losing Dare Rosenthal was a big loss to this offensive line. I think if you can trot Dare out there, now you got so much more depth around the guys, and now a lot of these young guys who have been forced to come in and play early on, they could have been developing and getting better right now. So we'll see about that, especially with the offensive line, kind of who really comes in and takes that left tackle spot. I think whoever comes in, if it's Bradford, they're gonna have to have a big day for sure.
Scott says, can we expect more targets for Brian Thomas Jr., especially if Butte's doubled in the slot, waiting for the fade route inside the 5? Look, I can promise you if they throw it out to Brian Thomas, he can make a play on it. I've seen enough of that in camp. The question is, in terms of more targets, who are you taking away from? You telling me Butte's been bracketed, so we can't go to him? Well, we're going to go to Deion Smith. What about Jack Bech? We're going to throw the ball to John Trey Kirkland. Oh, wait a second, Malik Neighbors is back now. Are we going to give him the ball? There's just Trey Palmer's healthy and practicing again. He was second on the team in catches against UCLA. I just can't promise you one guy is going to break out. I felt good last week saying Bech, but that's because I know Bech is going to be on the field because of the position he plays. I don't know which wide receiver is going to be out there snap to snap.
Yeah, I have no idea. I know what four I would love to see, especially.
Lay it on me.
Kayshawn for sure. I think moving Kayshawn to the slot, I love that because now you can run the jet suits to him, you can run the quick little screens to him, and then he can be a quick security blanket. I think on the outside, I would love to see Deion Smith, and on the other outside, I would love to see Malik Neighbors, and then first one trotting off the bench should be Brian Thomas. So those are the four that I would love to see get the majority of the snaps, and then you can bring Trey Palmer in a little bit. I think Devontae Lee made a huge leap last week.
Yeah.
I didn't think he would really be a guy that would really, play a lot of snaps this year and really, make an impact. But, he's growing on me right now. So I think find a way to get him some snaps as well. And then I think also Coy Moore, he's continued to be a guy that fights and helps the team as well. So, but as far as the first four, I think those are my first four right there.
That's a youth movement there. I don't think they're going to agree with you, but we'll see. I think all those guys are going to play. That's why it's just difficult for me to identify one freshman and say, yeah, he's the guy that's going to break out. There's just too many of them. All right, I've got one key for me to this game and what I need to see from LSU, and we'll do that next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back North Airway off of Airline Highway.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for a Football Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio hours return. Phil Steele picking the biggest games in college football. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Greg Lehman in the chat busting your chops, saying potential front runner in the front runner central in the right chair. You love the Yankees, you love the Lakers. He's in your kitchen over that.
Hey, man, I can't help that I like winners, man. Who wants to support or lose? That's why I never liked the Saints as a kid. People were walking around with brown paper bags over their face. Like, why would I cheer on for that?
That'll endear you to the audience. Thank you so much. To all the potential sponsors listening, don't worry about Jeremy. He's fine. It makes me so, speaking of losers, it makes me really sad to look up at that TV and see Cardinals-Cubs on a sunny 70-degree day in Wrigley in September, and it means absolutely nothing. That is just the saddest thing.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Get me some players.
The Cards are coming in hot to end this season, and
yeah, they won like 100 in a row.
I think you want the Cubs to lose this, right?
I do.
Okay, well, they're near a good spot.
Lost both to the Twins this week. We talked about it. Said they were huge games. Lost both to the Twins. Tied them for draft position. We got a jockey on up. Get the new guys to bring in the next dynasty. When I say dynasty, like one championship and win a couple of divisions. That's as good as we can hope for. We're talking LSU and Mississippi State. I teased heading into this segment that I have one key on both sides of the ball. If you listen to our pregame show on the network, we always have a key to the victory, and this will be it for me tomorrow on both sides. We mentioned this at the top of, 15 minutes into the first hour after we talked to Mike Reese, that communication in the secondary is just going to be massive, and I don't think that Dinkin and Duncan is going to create a ton of points over 4 quarters for Mississippi State. But if you dink and dunk on crossing routes and find somebody that doesn't have anybody assigned to them and you bust it for 65 and a touchdown, all of a sudden you can really rack up a lot of points. And LSU's had some issues in terms of guys coming in and out in the secondary, and that's something they definitely have to worry about. I talked about that in the last hour. So that's on the defensive side. On the offensive side, I do believe LSU will move the ball in Mississippi State. I watched Tech go up and down the field for 3 quarters. I watched Memphis do a good job of putting points on the board. NC State, they didn't do much on Mississippi State. But I think LSU will move the ball. The question is for LSU, when they get into the red zone and the field shrinks, does Zach Arnett's defense hold and force field goals? Field goals can get erased pretty quickly when you bust coverages on the other end and you allow guys to score touchdowns. You can get in trouble fast. So for me, as I mentioned in the first hour, LSU's got to communicate and on the back end of the defense And then secondly, on offense, when they get down there in the red zone, they got to go get 7 points, find some way somehow. You got any keys that you're looking at in this game?
I think for me, my key is I got a key on both sides of football. I think my key on offense is continue the tempo. I think that's when we run our best stuff. I think that's when our guys are playing the most confident. I think that's when we can keep defenses on their heels. They can't just pin their ears back. And I think especially on the road when you're dealing with the annoying cowbells, the best way to put a stop to that is getting on the ball fast and getting those plays snapped. And when you're running hurry-up offense, that means you're moving the ball up and down the field. So that only means good thing for our offense. And I think on the defensive side of the ball, I think believe and know your assignments. I think we just do that. I think we can be A-okay, and I think our defensive line is going to have a day. I just think those guys are going to be coming after the passer. I think we're going to find ways to get after the passer now. What we're going to do on the back end, I think that's yet to be seen. But if we can be assignment sound, I think we can make it tough for Rodgers to really have the day he would love to have.
Tommy Fleetwood burying a par putt to tie a hole. I don't like that. Back to football. This is the early kickoff, 11 o'clock. You can relate to this as a guy who played. The fans hate it. What do the players think?
We can't stand them, man. Yeah. Especially, are they staying in Starkville? They're not staying in Starkville.
No, they're not.
Yeah, so you got to wake up. Yeah, you got to wake up even earlier. You're sleepwalking in the morning, and you just got to find ways to get yourself up. And the beautiful thing about the NFL, a lot of times you probably won't ever play an 11 o'clock game. It's just not going to happen. 12 o'clock is the latest you'll play, and then most of the time 1 o'clock. So you don't have to worry about that stuff. College now, you've had a full week of class. You're going to study hall. You're going to practice every day, and then now you got to wake up at 5 in the morning to go play a game on national TV. So it's tough for a bunch of 18 and 19-year-old guys, but Coach O will be the man I picked to do it. He's going to be getting them riled up and ready to go, and I think we should start off the game fast. If we can do that, I'll be feeling really good.
This is just a guess, but I'm going to imagine Tommy Moffitt's got a role in waking people up on Saturday morning when there's an 11 o'clock kickoff.
Man, I remember those stinking air horns, man. They used to get in the hallways and just bunk those freaking air horns. It just was not fun. So you want to make sure you're up and rolling. Get your sleep the night before. It's a big national televised game to start the day, so you want to come out there ready to go. So I think starting fast is going to be huge, especially when you got to deal with those cowbells.
Just feel like they need something to go good early. I feel like confidence could be an issue here if you get into a hole. I thought last week was probably good for confidence. That goes away pretty quick when something bad happens and you're out there and all of a sudden it can snowball a little bit. That goes without saying, but I just feel like something good happening early in the game to get your blood flowing and get things moving would be important.
Yeah, that's something that you want to do. Especially, I think if you start fast, I think that definitely plays a role in that. It gives you the confidence that you need. It gets the rapport you need with the receivers. You get back to the silent, hey, this is working. Hey, I like my matchup with this guy. He can't stop me. And then just hopefully, maybe this is wishful thinking, but finding a way to get some sort of pulse in the run game, I think that would just take this offense to another level, especially if you can get it back to just pop a long run. I know you saw Goodwin have his long run. Kiner had a long run. You can just pop a couple of those a game. I think it just opens up everything for this offense.
All right, we've done keys. We've done, thoughts. We've done hypotheticals. We've given explanations. It's been all week, but the question is, how do you think it goes? How do you feel about this game entering it? How do you think it goes?
I think we can start fast on offense. I think we're going to continue to do that with the tempo. And if we do that, I think we can win. I say we win by 7 or 8 points.
So one-score game. I'm getting increasingly nervous about this game. Generally, as the week goes on, because I'm an obnoxious fan, I just get more confidence, and by the time I wake up Saturday morning, all right, we're taking these guys out by 30. It's just that's the nature of how a fan generally thinks. This game, as I look at it more, as I think about LSU's team more, I'm nervous about it. And I would love LSU, as I said earlier in the show, to go out there and win by 27 points and really set the scene for a great environment against Auburn, because we hadn't had one of those in 2 years. But I think LSU has very little chance to run the ball effectively. That terrifies me in terms of sustaining drives, although I do think they'll get the passing game going and they'll create some scoring opportunities. What they do in the red zone all depends, but I don't think they'll run it at all. And I think that there's a good possibility for busts in the back end on the coverage side of things that Leach and this Mississippi State offense will handle. And if they get 2 busts, like Central Michigan did, like UCLA did, that makes things really difficult on a team that can't run the football. And so I'm terrified. I think this game comes down to the last possession, and I'm not sitting here saying that LSU will lose this game. I just think it comes down to the last possession. Now, as you flip things, I'm telling you right now, if they go out there and take care of business, which I don't expect, but if they go out there and take care of business easily, you got to feel a little bit better. You got to think, man, we can beat Auburn at home. And then all of a sudden, you start to gain a little bit of confidence. The air comes out of the balloon so quick when you go up there and get pushed around by UCLA. And then the McNeese game doesn't do anything. I mentioned that. And last week made me feel a little bit better. This week really could show me who you are, one way or another. And I know I said that last week, and they proved there's improvement there. So there's reason that they can continue to improve. You go out there and lose by 2 scores, it's going to be a tough town next week. You go out there and win by 2 scores, man, are we fired up to play Auburn. It is that big a hinge game, and we never talk about the Mississippi State game in those terms, but here we are. And, it is what it is. Like, there's no reason to sugarcoat it.
No, this is a very losable football game. To think that we're just going to walk over Mississippi State, we'd be fooling ourselves. We all saw what happened last year. We got to come out there locked in, ready to go. It's a road environment to open up the SEC play. They feel like they can run you out the building. They feel like I know how teams talk. I know what's being said over there. They feel really good about the Tigers coming to town. And just the same way we used to feel about Mississippi State, they don't feel the same way about us. They think we're a very beatable football team. So knowing that, you just have to come out there locked in, ready to go, knowing the game plan, being assignment sound, and just play fast and have fun. I think you started to see a lot of that last week. Guys, celebrating with each other after touchdowns, having fun out there on the field. Continue to do those things, and it'll be contagious, and you continue to make plays.
Let's take our last timeout of the week. Come back with Take It or Leave It. It's Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
You guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia.
It's week 4 of the prep football season, and we get started Friday at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and Warren Easton kick off at 7, immediately followed by a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm already regretting the promo I just cut.
2 scores, huh?
So those that, I mean, obviously y'all listen to the station whenever there's a recorded little thing that says, hey, listen to the show, we're talking about this and this. I decided on Fridays I'm going to do a prediction and just see how dumb I can sound. Like last week I said LSU won by 20 and the Saints won by a field goal at the end. Well, the Saints got crushed, and LSU didn't exactly win by 20 and won by a little bit more. So I'm trying, and then I just went off the rails on this one. I just cut one for this weekend that says that LSU lost by a score and the Saints lost by 2 scores. We're talking about it on Hunt and Hill. So, look, it was just a stupid thing to say. I don't know why I said it. I just went ahead and did it. So every time you hear it, don't get too mad at me. I apologize. We're talking about whatever happens on Monday. We shall see. At least it might get some people's attention. I don't know. You think I'm an idiot?
No, I think it's fun. I think a little reverse psychology, a little reverse jinxing, I would say. I think
if the Saints lose by 2 scores and LSU does lose by a score and I'm right, can we do the first hour on Monday after O just do Ryder Cup?
Yeah, you'd earned it. You earned it.
All right, let's do some take it or leave it to close out the week. I'll start things off. Sports Illustrated ranked the top NBA players going into this coming season. Kevin Durant ranked number 1. Taking or leaving KD is the number 1 player in the NBA.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Kevin Durant was a size 22 shoe away from going to the finals, well, the conference finals this year. And I think he really, coming off that Achilles injury, I think you saw, him really return like no one's ever done before. And he's really, made that leap to me to be probably the best player in the league. So I think this year is really going to be a chance to really answer that bell with a healthy Nets team. They should be able to go all the way and get it done. So he'll be on the clock for people to show us something, Kevin.
I don't watch a ton of NBA. I mean, obviously I'm very aware of Kevin Durant. He's been in the league for over decades. So, but I watched a good bit of the Olympics just because the NBA is like kind of time wise. I'm watching college baseball. I'm a bad sports fan in that way. But I did watch some of the Olympics. He's just totally unguardable, and I knew that. But it's just it brings it back in. He can get his shot whenever he wants it. He may not make it every time, but he can certainly get his shot. He may be the most unguardable player in the history of basketball when you're 6'11" and can handle the ball and elevate and shoot like that. I don't know what you're supposed to do if you're some 6'7" wing defender and he's got 4 inches on you. Certainly if you're 7 feet tall, you can't move with him. So I'll take him too.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, the NFL released its schedule for Wild Card Weekend this year. One of those games happened to be played on Monday night. Are you taking or leaving playoff games on Monday night?
I'm leaving it. It takes an entire day, especially if it's a road team that wins and they got to go on the road the next week because they're the wild card team. You're traveling back after the game on Monday night. You get back at the wee hours of Tuesday, and then you got to travel again coming up on Saturday. Like I just don't think it's fair. I think there's such a significant disadvantage in terms of the travel schedule and days of the week. it's not like you're playing Monday at noon. You're playing Monday night, and then you got to fly all night on Monday night. I think that's crazy. You would know a lot better than me.
Yeah, I don't like it. Honestly, I don't even like the Saturday playoff games. I think they get an advantage because they get an extra day of rest when you got to play on Sunday, and then you got to turn around and sometimes play on Saturday or sometimes play that next Sunday. So the teams who get to play on that Saturday, they get an extra day. So I just wish they found a way to, fit the games on one day to make it even. But, NFL got to make their money. They got to get those TV contracts done. So you kind of understand why they do it.
Sam Darnold threw for 304 yards, rushed for another 2 TDs, 24-9 win against the Texans last night. Taking or leaving, Sam Darnold is pushing being an elite quarterback in the NFL.
I'll take it.
Whoa.
I think Sammy boy, man, he can make every throw. I mean, you see the reasons why he was a number 3 pick in the draft, and you see why, everyone really fell in love with him. And I think, in this situation, obviously we'd love to have McCaffrey back, but I don't think this is going to stop anytime soon. I think Sammy boy is going to have himself a year this year. All right, let's do this one. All right, this is a funny one. App State opened as a 7.5-point favorite against Marshall. Their running back, Nathaniel Noel, later apologized for taking a knee before scoring a late touchdown while up 31-30. Are you taking or leaving players should be apologizing for not covering the spread?
I am leaving it. 1, I never bet on games, so I don't care about that. 2, I love the awareness of realizing you win if you don't score. Way too often, guys are intercepting passes on 4th down they don't need to be catching. Guys are scoring touchdowns they don't need to be scoring. They're trying to run back interceptions when the game's over instead of sliding and taking it over because we're kind of worried a little bit about stats. We're trying to get – if you got contract stuff that you got to deal with, maybe. He doesn't. So get on the ground and win the football game. I love it, Nathaniel Noel. Way to hit the deck big time.
Yeah, good thing I didn't lay anything on App State last night because Nathaniel, me and you would have had a conversation today, buddy. No, I'm joking. We got one more. MLB to experiment with pre-tack baseballs in some AAA games this season. Are you taking or leaving the big leagues to take on those pre-tack baseballs?
I'm leaving it. I think we've spun baseballs without, spider tack for a long time. Now, there's always going to be your Gaylord Perrys that are cheating in the Hall of Fame and guys trying to get an edge. And I realized that, it got out of hand. But the spin rates on these sliders, the guys throwing 102 miles an hour, that's not going to create a very interesting product. I'm going to be interested because if it wears, white and blue pinstripes and takes the field and Wrigley, I'm going to be locked in no matter what the situation is. But I don't think we need to tack the ball. I think the rosin's fine. Guys have been using it for years. If we have a little more offense in the game because the sliders aren't as sharp and the velocity's not as good and the spin rate doesn't keep the elevated fastballs on plane, I'm going to live with that. I don't think it's that big a deal. So I'll go ahead and leave it. I think it's just fine. So thanks to Mike Reese for joining us in hour number 1. He covers the Patriots for ESPN. A lot of LSU and Mississippi State talk. Some Ed Orgeron sound in the first hour. Our NFL tiers in hour number 1. SEC slate in hour number 2. You can get all that on demand, 1045ESPN.com or on the YouTube channel presented by Bayou Ford. All right, Jeremy, what's your day looking like tomorrow? Early rise, bud.
I'm going to be pounding that coffee at about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Me and Matt Moscona are going to be doing the pregame show tomorrow from 7 to 9, and then my boy Hunt's going to take over and do his thing.
I am. I'm looking forward to it. Look, the post-game show host does not apologize for 11 o'clock kickoffs, especially on the road. I know they make everybody else cranky, but we're going to make it happen. So, yeah, Jeremy and Matt will be on Eagle 98.1 from 7 to 9 tomorrow. So y'all lock them in when you're getting your early errands done or just pouring a cup of coffee. Those guys will be locked and loaded at 9 o'clock. I'll join them briefly. Then at 9 o'clock from Cards and Culture over in Perkins Row, me, Garrett Brumfield, Marlon Favorite will take over from 9 o'clock to 10:30. Then the game broadcast will go on from Starkville. We'll be back from campus reacting on Twitter on the post-game report. That is going to be 30 minutes after the game goes final for about an hour, and 90 minutes after the game is over. Charles Hannegriff and Richard Condon on an extended edition of Eagle 98 Point Game Day from right here in this studio. They'll be taking your phone calls and reactions. So lock us in. Busy day. LSU and Mississippi State will kick off at 11 o'clock. Saints and Patriots at noon. We're reacting to it Monday. Of course, Ed Orgeron's press conference will preempt most of our first hour. But we're back in the second hour reacting to everything we have seen this weekend. I'm locking in the Ryder Cup for the next 3 days. Let's go win this thing, Stars and Stripes. We like that. Tigers, you take care of business. Saints do the same. Have a great weekend. Musso and Mario with your early line. They are up next on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.